Most people think building muscle is all about lifting heavier weights, training harder, and grinding in the gym every single day. And while training is obviously important, the truth is that none of it matters if you don't have one thing dialed in: your protein intake. Protein isn't just another nutrient you should try to get more of. It's the actual building material your body uses to repair muscle fibers, strengthen connective tissues, and grow new tissue after every workout. Without the right amount of protein, your body simply does not have the resources it needs to adapt to the stress you put it through. And here's the real issue: most people have no idea how much protein they actually need. Some people are eating way too little without even knowing it. Others are eating far more than they need and wasting money. And almost everyone is confused about timing, sources, and whether protein powder is necessary. So in this video, we're going to break down the real science behind protein. You'll learn exactly how much protein you need per day, how to structure it across meals, the truth about timing, the difference between plant and animal sources, how to tell if you're undereating protein, and most importantly, how to make protein intake simple and consistent so you can build muscle as efficiently as possible. No hype, no confusion. Just a clear, science-based explanation you can apply immediately. Let's get started. Jurasin Pro. What protein actually does: protein is made up of amino acids. Think of them like tiny building blocks your body uses to create and repair tissue. When you train, especially with resistance training, you create microscopic tears in your muscle fibers. This might sound like damage, but it's actually the signal your body needs to grow stronger. After you finish training, your body activates something called muscle protein synthesis, which is basically the repair and rebuilding process. But here's the catch: that process cannot happen efficiently unless you have enough amino acids available. This is why protein is the most important nutrient for building muscle. It doesn't just help with growth, it controls recovery, strength development, and even your ability to maintain muscle during a fat loss phase. Without adequate protein, your body struggles to repair itself, your recovery slows, your performance plateaus, and your progress becomes frustratingly inconsistent. So protein is not optional. It's not something you try to get. It's something your body requires every time you train, every time you grow, and every time you want to make progress. How much protein you need per day? Now let's talk real numbers, because this is where most people get things wrong. The optimal daily protein intake for building muscle is typically between 1.6 and 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. This range is supported by a large number of studies that consistently show that muscle growth plateaus around this intake. Eating less than this slows down growth. Eating more than this doesn't provide extra benefits, it just adds calories. Here's what this looks like with real examples. If you weigh 70 kilograms, you should aim for 112 to 154 grams per day. If you weigh 80 kilograms, your target becomes 128 to 176 grams per day. If you weigh 90 kilograms, you need 144 to 198 grams. Now, if you're overweight, don't calculate based on your full body weight. Use your lean target weight instead. For example, if you're 110 kilograms but want to reach 85 kilograms leaner, you should calculate based on 85, not 110. The goal here is not perfection. The goal is consistency. You don't need to hit 176.3 grams exactly. You just need to stay inside the range every day. This is what gives your body the raw material it needs to build muscle consistently. Is there such a thing as too much protein? Let's address one of the biggest myths in the fitness world: the idea that too much protein is bad for you, especially for your kidneys. This myth comes from very old misunderstandings of kidney function that don't apply to healthy people. Modern research is extremely clear. If you're a healthy person with normal kidney function, higher protein intakes are safe. There is no strong scientific evidence showing harm from eating high-protein diets. That said, eating way above the recommended range does not build more muscle. Eating 300 grams of protein per day doesn't magically turn you into a mass-gaining machine. Your body can only use so much protein for muscle repair. Anything beyond that is simply used for energy or stored. So the goal is not eat as much protein as possible. The goal is eat the right amount consistently. Not too low, not unnecessarily high, just the range that your body can actually use. How to space out your protein intake. Even though the daily total is the most important factor, how you distribute that protein throughout the day affects how efficiently your body uses it. Your body can absorb large amounts of protein at once, but it cannot use all of it for muscle building in a single meal. Muscle protein synthesis peaks when you consume around 20 to 40 grams of high quality protein in one sitting. Eating more than that doesn't raise the muscle building signal further, it just plateaus. This is why spreading your protein out across 3 to 5 meals works better than eating 1 or 2 giant meals. An ideal setup looks like this: breakfast with 25 to 40 grams, lunch with 25 to 40 grams, dinner with 25 to 40 grams, and optionally one more protein rich snack or meal later in the day. Think of it this way: building muscle is like watering a plant. You don't dump an entire bucket of water onto a plant once a day. You water it consistently. Protein works the same way. Small, steady spikes throughout the day give your body multiple chances to grow. Does protein timing really matter? Another common confusion is the anabolic window, which is the belief that you must consume protein immediately after your workout, or your training session is wasted. But the science says otherwise. If you consumed protein within 3 or 4 hours before training, your body still has amino acids available during and after the workout. Your muscle building window stays open for far longer than people realize. That said, eating protein after your workout is still beneficial because it supports recovery, helps you meet your daily target, and creates a solid habit. But the idea that you must rush to your shaker bottle the second you finish your last set is outdated. The real priority is your total daily protein intake. Timing is helpful, but not nearly as important as hitting your target every day. NAS, the best sources of protein. Let's talk about where you should get your protein from, because not all sources are equal in terms of amino acid quality and digestibility. Animal-based sources like chicken, beef, eggs, fish, and dairy are complete proteins. They contain all the essential amino acids needed for muscle growth. They also tend to have higher leucine content, which is the amino acid that plays a major role in triggering muscle protein synthesis. Plant-based sources like beans, lentils, tofu, tempeh, quinoa, and other legumes can absolutely support muscle growth too. The only difference is that some plant sources are lower in certain essential amino acids, and they generally require either a bit more quantity or a combination of foods to achieve the same effect. Protein powder, whether whey, casein, or plant-based, is simply a convenient way to hit your daily target. It's not magic, it's not required, and it doesn't build muscle faster than whole foods. It's just an easy way to add 20 to 30 grams to your day when needed. How to tell if you're eating enough protein. A lot of people are under-eating protein without realizing it. So here are some clear signs that your protein intake may be too low. First, your recovery feels slow. You experience soreness that lasts longer than expected, and your strength doesn't bounce back between workouts. Second, you feel hungrier throughout the day because protein is the most satiating macronutrient. When you undereat it, your appetite tends to be harder to control. Third, your strength progression plateaus or stalls completely. This is a major sign because building muscle is directly tied to your ability to recover. If your protein intake is too low, your body simply cannot repair tissue efficiently. And fourth, your physique doesn't change even though you're training consistently. If you're hitting your workouts, but your body isn't responding, low protein is often the missing piece. How to practically hit your protein target. Now let's talk about how to actually hit your protein goal in real life, because numbers don't matter if you can't apply them. The simplest method is to build each meal around a protein source. For example, eggs or Greek yogurt for breakfast, chicken, beef, or tofu for lunch, fish or lean meat for dinner, and a protein-rich snack like cottage cheese, a protein shake, or even a high-protein plant meal as needed. Another strategy is to aim for around 25 to 40 grams of protein per meal and make small adjustments as needed. Once you learn roughly how much protein is in the foods you eat most often, hitting your daily target becomes extremely easy. Tracking your protein for 1 or 2 weeks can also help you understand how much you naturally eat. Most people are shocked to find out they're eating far less than they thought. Common protein mistakes people make. There are several mistakes people make when trying to build muscle with protein, and correcting these can drastically improve your progress. One mistake is skipping breakfast, or eating a breakfast that is mostly carbohydrates, which causes you to miss out on your first opportunity to activate muscle protein synthesis. Another mistake is relying too heavily on protein powder instead of whole foods. While protein shakes are great for convenience, whole foods come with additional nutrients that support overall health and gym performance. A third mistake is eating most of your protein at night. Even if your total daily intake is correct, consuming it mostly in one meal isn't optimal for growth. And finally, many people fail to adjust protein intake when dieting. When you're in a calorie deficit, you need more protein, not less, to maintain muscle mass. How protein helps with fat loss. Protein isn't only important for building muscle, it's also critical for fat loss. High protein diets help reduce hunger, stabilize blood sugar, and maintain muscle while losing fat. When you're in a calorie deficit, your body naturally tries to break down both fat and muscle for energy. But eating enough protein helps protect your muscle mass, which keeps your metabolism higher and makes fat loss more efficient. People who eat high protein diets tend to lose more fat, maintain more muscle, and feel fuller throughout the day. This is why bodybuilders, athletes, and anyone focusing on physique improvements prioritize protein even when cutting. What to do if you struggle to eat enough protein? Some people struggle to reach their protein targets, especially if they have a smaller appetite or are new to high protein eating. If that's you, here are a few simple strategies. First, prioritize lean, high protein foods that deliver more protein with less volume. Things like chicken breast, Greek yogurt, tuna, eggs, and protein shakes. Second, break your meals into smaller, more frequent servings. Instead of forcing yourself to eat a massive high protein lunch, spread your intake across 4 or 5 meals. Third, increase protein density by choosing foods like cottage cheese, high protein yogurt, tofu, tempeh, or whey isolate. And finally, prepare your meals ahead of time. Having protein sources ready in your fridge makes it much easier to stay consistent. Outro. So to summarize everything, protein is the foundation of muscle growth. It provides the raw materials your body needs to recover, repair, and build tissue after every workout. The optimal intake for muscle building is between 1.6 and 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight per day, distributed across 3 to 5 meals. Total daily protein intake matters more than timing, but spreading it throughout the day maximizes muscle protein synthesis. Both animal and plant-based proteins can help you build muscle, and protein powder is just a convenient tool, not a requirement. If you've been training hard but not seeing progress, your protein intake is likely one of the missing pieces. Get this right, stay consistent, and your strength, recovery, and physique will finally start moving in the direction you want. If you enjoyed this video and want more simple science-based fitness content, make sure to subscribe and stick around. There's a lot more coming.